Mariner Books and HarperAudio present The Sexual Evolution: How 500 Million Years of Sex, Gender, and Mating Shape Modern Relationships, by Nathan H. Lents. Read by Daniel Henning. I dedicate this to every queer person who's been told they are unnatural. Not only are you natural, you are flawless and beautiful, exactly as you are. There is grandeur in this view of life from so simple a beginning. Endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are being evolved. Charles Darwin, On the Origin of Species, 1859. Introduction. The State of Affairs, if you'll pardon the pun. One day in my high school biology class, the teacher announced that there would be a closed-book assessment at the end of the week, covering the content of the chapter we'd been discussing. This was the early 1990s, so my classmates and I had not heard that term before. Dr. Parrish explained the kinds of questions that would appear on the assessment and gave us tips for focusing our studies. "Okay, but is this a test?" we asked. Dr. Parrish responded that the assessment would be worth 20 points and reminded us that the quarter's work comprised about 200 points in total, not counting extra credit opportunities. "So, is this a quiz then?" Her patience beginning to fade, Dr. Parrish explained that it was worth about 10% of the total points of the term, so we should study accordingly. "Why won't you just tell us if this is a test or a quiz?" "I just told you how much it's worth. What difference does it make what you call it?" Of course, it makes all the difference in the world. Humans have a strong instinct to name, categorize, and organize everything in our lives. This helps us make sense of the world around us, both the natural world and the world that we create. But these labels are artificial. They are constructs, which is not to imply that labels and categories are meaningless, just that they don't exist as real entities until we create them. There is no inherent difference between a test and a quiz. Those are just different words used to indicate the relative size and value of an assessment. By giving us the point value, Dr. Parrish had rendered the labels superfluous. But this did not satisfy us. We needed to know what we were studying for, a test or a quiz. At least in our minds, the two were different. In the field of biology, we have a system, a whole discipline of study, that is all to do with the naming and classification of organisms. But these classifications, called taxonomy, are purely human creations and serve only our need to understand and communicate about the organisms that we study. We tend to think of a species as a real thing. This is a wolf, Canis lupus, and that is a dog, Canis familiaris. They are related, but they are different. You are a modern human, Homo sapiens, but the skullcap found in the Neander Valley on that fateful day in 1856 belongs to a different species we call Homo neanderthalensis. We are related, but we are different. A species includes all the members of one type of thing that are not members of another type of thing. Simple, neat. This is obviously not the scientific definition of species, but so difficult is this concept to define that there are several competing definitions within the field of biology. Except, we know that dogs were domesticated, or self-domesticated, from wild wolves. Long ago, some wolves hanging around groups of humans underwent rounds of selection for thousands of years, until the population had distinct enough features that they weren't really wolves anymore. At what point did they stop being wolves and start being dogs? Was there a time at which the last generation of wolves gave birth to the first generation of...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?